Hey guys, gonna be doing a little bit of a different video for those of you who have followed my videos on Facebook, but this is gonna be our very first YouTube video, I believe. One which kind of breaks down the process of what we're doing here. We are specifically trying to come up with a new style of crafting foam weaponry specifically for battle in your backyard or training with another martial artist or in LARPing games. We specifically are trying to kind of break some boundaries that have been rather stagnant and stale for a number of years, specifically in the LARPing world. So what I'm about to show you is I'm about to show you the newest creation. I just finished up here today. Just did a video on Facebook about it, and I wanted to give you guys a bit more of a breakdown on exactly what goes into making such a weapon, so that whenever you guys watch our videos, hopefully in the future, you can see what I'm about to describe actually in action. So here is kind of a close-up of the hammer that we just created. I'll take a step back with it so you guys can see. Again, it's a little over 70 inches tall. It was crafted as a Warhammer, and it was built in order to basically break guards. In my opinion, hammers, they're about breaking bones and breaking guards, and this certainly does as far as break guards. It's got a little less than 7 pounds worth of weight in it, 6 pounds, 6 ounces right at, and we basically most of that weight is in the head. Now, the head is one piece. What it is it's an 8-inch piece of cross-link closed cell foam. We get this as a solid piece from our manufacturer, and what we've done is we had to use a number of different tools in order to get this fully crafted. I had to start off by using a wood saw of all things. Hand sawing this thing out was a bit of a beast to do. It was a struggle, a bit of a challenge specifically, really, getting a straight line with a wood saw, a tool not intended to be used in the manner I was using it. But unfortunately, my band saw that I have, it only goes up to 6 inches, and this is an 8-inch block that I worked here with. So what you guys can see, though, is you guys can see that I was able to actually achieve the angles of a hammerhead as you properly would. I achieved that by using my bandsaw. Again, I just said that I couldn't cut the whole block out because the bandsaw only goes up to 6 inches worth of clearance, and for your product to be cut through the bandsaw. And this is an 8-inch block. But with the bandsaw, what you can do is you can angle the table. So, and again, I'll show you in a future video. You guys will see specifically the device I'm talking about. For those of you familiar with a bandsaw and its operation, then you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But basically, we can take it from a flat angle. We can bring it up to 45 degrees. And then whenever the saw blade continues to cut in the same pattern, the same direction, with the same force as if the tray were set level, whenever we bring the tray to a 45-degree angle, still continues to cut. So we achieve these 45-degree angle cuts on the foam. So we can go the whole way down, and we can have a consistent cut to our angles, whichever angles we're going for. If it's either a blocked weapon or a curved weapon, such as a katana, or an edged weapon, I should say, katanas, broadswords, and really any other kind of edged weapon, we can achieve those edges with the bandsaw. And a lot of times we will use a fillet knife, actually, and do a lot of hand free carving in order to achieve the shapes and the looks that we are desiring. So, but for this build specifically, I kept it to the bandsaw in order to get that, like I said, that nice consistent cut all the way through. So we've got our angles that we needed to achieve. It was a bit of a beast to get the center of the foam. I'm gonna bring this up like this, hopefully not knock anything over. Let's see. Okay. The core of the weapon, fiberglass core, right? We don't work with any metal here at Sleeping Samurai. We don't put any metal in any of our products. So we have the core being a fiberglass core. We recently upgraded from bamboo, 1-inch thick bamboo, to fiberglass. It's just a more consistent core, a more durable and long-lasting core. Unfortunately, the cost with this type of core, unfortunately, is $10 more per 8-foot piece, because the bamboo came in 8 feet, 8-foot lengths. This comes in 8-foot lengths, and at those prices, unfortunately, this is about $10 more a pop. But with doing that, you get so much more consistency, durability, longevity with your weapon. You're not going to ever worry about snapping your core of your weapon any longer. Whereas with the bamboo, because it is a grass, occasionally you'll have some cores snap. It's not ideal, but it's natural built, so you never know what can happen with the bamboo. But with the fiberglass, it's going to be consistent and durable. So that's why we made the change, the upgrade to that. So we're excited to be offering that with all of our weapons now, and with all the custom weapons, it'll be having the fiberglass as the cores. With this weapon, in order to keep, I know what a number of you guys are probably wondering. If this was one solid block, and you take a solid square object and put it on a round core, how do you keep that square object from just spinning loose on the round core, right? That was hurdle number 1 that we had to figure out with this build. It wasn't too big of an issue once we discovered the amazing, hi Lexi. You don't need to sneak, babe, you're good. Come say hi when you get a chance. Plastic. We're working with a moldable plastic now. As we've mentioned in a number of other videos, Lexi right now, actually off topic, is working on some of our leather masks. Yes. How's that coming?
I had stuff cut, so I'm saving myself time. Because
I was really?
Like, yay, now I don't have to cut straps.
Yay.
I have a ton, apparently.
So we'll be showing off some of her masks on this channel later on once we've got a few more complete, and maybe even speak on the process on how we do those as well. Who knows? Bye, Lexi. Thanks, baby. So, anywho, we're working with a moldable plastic, right? And with that moldable plastic, I realized that if we're going to, we want to work with just one solid head. I don't want one solid block. I don't want to worry about having to carve in and glue 2 different pieces together. It just wasn't a process I wanted to do with this build. So went about it a different way. We used some moldable plastic, and I actually, in the end of the fiberglass core, we have molded some plastic into the core on the outside specifically so that it actually forms what I'm calling a key shape. Now, it's not like a normal key you're used to seeing. It's actually just a shape that is specifically keyed to this foam, if that makes sense. So it's a shape that I was able to reproduce in the foam and drill out into the foam in order to keep the foam from twisting. So imagine, if you will, a round, let me see if I can give you guys, here's a pin, a round core, right? And then on that round core, I built out 4 different sides, kind of like an X. Imagine, if you will, an X, plastic on this side, that side, that side, and that side. All right, like an X shape, boom, boom. So now, whenever you put that X shape into your block of foam, foam's not gonna twist anymore because it's in that actual shape. The core is a unique shape now, part of the core that went into the foam. And the foam, in order to accept that shape, has been keyed to only accept that shape and nothing else. So where is the foam going to twist to? It has nowhere to twist to. So with using that setup and that design, along with the very industrial glue that we use, which we'll probably show in another video at some point maybe, but we use a very industrial glue in order to hold all our products together. We really don't want any weapons to have any issues of the foam coming off of the core. So that's how we got the core into the head, and the head to stay where it's supposed to stay. It's not going to twist, and it's not going to shift where we don't want it to twist or shift to. So there's that part done, right? So you get that in there, you get it the glue to dry like 24 hours later, just to make sure you're not going to have any issues. You come back and you continue working on it. Goodness, let me tell you about the next steps. I'm not sure if you guys can see this, but I'm going to push in on this foam here. Yes. Okay. So you guys can kind of see my fingerprints here, and we're going to keep it there. We're going to see how quickly those fade away. But what this is this has been treated with an acrylic resin type liquid first. After I was done shaping the block, after I was done sanding it, then wet sanding it, then heat treating it. Gosh, the time, the process, let me tell you. So many different hours. This weapon, Lexi, could you actually bring me the paperwork with the hours? Yeah. So I can let everybody know? Anyways, real professional here, us at Sleeping Samurai with the YouTubes.
Two of us, what do they expect?
Yeah, so we are looking at, let's see here, the prep design time, because this is all a custom order. The gentleman gave us a rough design, a rough idea, and told us whenever we finish it, he'll be happy to buy it. So that's how we proceeded. It's taken quite a while because there's a lot on our plates and there's only 2 of us doing it right now. So prep design time, basically us taking time to figure out how it's all going to work and the weight distributions, the size, etc. That was only about 30 minutes. Not bad, right? But then I spoke about the plastic and all that part. That was 3.5 hours. It took a long time to mold and work with that plastic. We've got drawing and forming and shaping of the weapon. That's cutting the weapon out. That's getting the design to it, then cutting it out, then angling it at all. Then we've got more shaping, sanding, and extra little gluing here and there that we need to do with the weapon. That was many hours, 3 hours alone. I have we've got the other gluing of this section, which I haven't spoken about yet, was another 3 hours, gluing, shaping, sanding, getting that from start to finish at least. So that was only 3 hours, just that section alone. We've got the different sanding and overall finishing work to the process, a little more than 2 hours. Now, I talked about the glazing, the acrylic resin. That's the part that, so over 5 hours I spent. Many different layers, not timing myself in between sessions of putting the layers on. Just the time of putting the layers on was over 5 hours. And that is because it is a paintable substance. It's not something that I can just spray on with an aerosol. I had to try to cover evenly and do many different layers in order to build up the acrylic resin over the foam. Now, the reason I did that is because we've been doing this for over 10 years now. We've been working with this style of foam for over 4 or 5 years. We've been working with this style of foam. And that's Lexi banging on some leather, working on those masks outside, if you're wondering what that sound is. But yeah, so we've been working with this style of foam for at least over 4 years. In doing so, we've learned a lot about it. We've learned the good, the bad, the uglies about the foam. And one of the things about the foam is if you don't put enough layers on your foam of either a sprayable plastic or, like I'm talking about, the acrylic resin, and then you strike somebody with it, you're gonna find that it's may start to crack your foam. Your foam is not gonna have the rebound property that you want it to have because of the impacts that you're putting that foam through. So what we are excited about is the fact that this acrylic resin so far has proven that it will hold up to the impact and it will help keep the foam from splitting. So the many different layers I put on this built it up. It took away a lot of the different roughness that is to the foam that was left over after I said the sanding, the wet sanding and the heat treating. There was still a little bit of roughness left over, so the acrylic resin helps with that and helps give it a smoother surface. I'm not sure if you guys can see how smooth this surface is. I'm not a prideful man, but I am proud of this weapon, and I'm proud of how detailed. I'm trying to get my camera to zoom. There we go. How smooth this thing is. Like, it is nice. It is very nice. And it's largely due to the acrylic resin, the time I took to multiple layer this thing. After that, there's we got it was about 2 hours, 2.25, but about 2 hours in the painting of it, the design to get it to look like you see. Pardon me a moment. Okay, so the plasti dip is going to give it the look, the design that you've got here. The gray, hopefully people like the look that I gave it, trying to make it look very much like a worked piece of massive steel on the end of a pole. So in certain lights, the end of the weapon actually has a chameleon paint job. There we go. You can see it's a little green right now, a little purple right now. Little flare we gave to it there. Chameleon paint job on the ends there. We've got some shine that we added to the edges to make it really pop and really look like it's supposed to. Hopefully it looks like it's supposed to as far as you guys are concerned. This area here, as I mentioned earlier, had a number of hours in it. This is specifically the courtesy padding. This is actually two separate pieces, and it's separate from this piece. The reason being is because, again, I needed to create this key form, right? And I couldn't have a drill bit do a key form from here, right, all the way to here. That's how deep the core is. The core is up to about here. All right, so unfortunately I couldn't control a drill bit. Even if they had a drill bit, I'm sure there's drill bits that are 2 feet long, but I didn't want that process would have added so many more hours if I were to try to do it that way. So instead of trying to do the whole form through the whole piece, I decided this is going to be a piece and the courtesy padding is going to be a piece. Now the reason, for those of you who aren't familiar with courtesy padding, what that is that's the section of the weapon that, as a foam weaponsmith, we fear people may not be struck by the actual striking edge or striking surface, no edge here, but striking surface of the weapon. So we give it a courtesy padding, something that just in case whenever you swing this weapon at your opponent, if you miss with the head and you hit them with this portion of the weapon instead, you're not hitting them with naked fiberglass, which is what this is. This is just fiberglass with some tape, giving it some flair. This is just a small bit of padding on the end of the weapon, just for safety reasons, not a striking area, absolutely not a striking zone. It's not padded enough for that. It's just for safety, just in case someone gets bumped with it, all right? But this is built up enough there where if you swing it through the air, you miss your opponent with this section, at least you're not going to be hitting them, like I said, with a naked fiberglass. It's padded in this area, so they shouldn't be harmed, all right? So that's the goal. That's what this section's for. We've got this really cool grip tape. Did the design, obviously, to look like a metal, kind of like rebar, steel look to it, right? So we've matched that with the butt cap. The client asked for a brown handle, so there you go. You got the dark brown handle. And the light, sorry about the lighting here, guys. It's my very first video, like I said, so the lighting could be better. Hopefully one day it will be. We'll see how things go. But for now, that's the lighting, and this is the handle. This is a brown handle, gray courtesy padding and butt cap, and we've got obviously the steel looking hammerhead. So there is our weapon. This is a vinyl tape, similar to electrical tape, definitely not the same, similar, in the same ballpark, we'll say. And again, like I said, this is a grip tape. So we put it all together and we've got a Warhammer. And so again, this is the newest version that we have created here at Sleeping Samurai. And we are going to be looking to create more and different unique style weapons. And as those weapons get created, different ones and different types of even fruit get created, which I'll leave that as just that. I'll explain more later, I promise. But yes, as we create more weapons or more fruit, we will either do more videos like this explaining what we did, what was put into it, so you guys can understand. It's not a short process, and it's not a cheap thing to do. The time involved is, you guys can add it up. I told you what the time was. We've got painting at 2 hours, like I mentioned, and taping with final touches was 1.25 hours. So add it all up, we're at over 26 hours on this build, guys. So if you guys are wanting a weapon built by us, we can do it. We'd love to do it. It's amazing what we can do with the foam. I'm sure I could get that time down, but it's a custom, and I didn't want to sacrifice quality for speediness. If this is going to be used for many years, which I hope it will be, many years to come, I want it to hold up for those years. I want it to be able to be something that the owner is proud to show every time he goes out to the field, and it performs every time he goes out to the field. That's what we go for here at Sleeping Samurai. We're not going for something cheap, quick, and get it done, and it kind of looks like what they were looking for and overcharge the customer. That's not what we're doing. We're trying to charge a fair dollar for quality work. We hoped that people see our work and see the quality and the time that we put into it. So, like I said, I could maybe shim some hours off of that, but I believe the quality would definitely be lacking if I were to take any more time away from it. So, I think that's all for this video. Pretty much explained the start to finish with that weapon. We tried to give it, like I said, all the different effects, so I'm not going to go back through it with you guys. You guys saw it. If you have any questions, hit me up in the comments. We're also on Facebook. You can find us on Facebook at Sleeping Samurai. And if you would like to place an order with us, you can find us on the web at sleepingsamurai.com. Shoot me an email if you need to as well, if you want to talk custom orders. I love talking shop through email, and we can talk about the different pictures that will be needed to be sent over, the different size and weight, etc. A lot of different details. Obviously, we shoot for a minimum of 90% accuracy with our build. Whenever people send us photos, whenever people give us ideas that they want us to create, we try to make that as close to what the customer is believing it will be as possible. And that includes with the foam, that includes mixing in leather if we need to, that includes mixing in different types of tape, and like I said, the moldable plastic. So there's a lot that we can do with this new style that we're working here with. I'm excited to keep doing new weapons and kind of breaking the barriers and the boundaries a little bit. So hopefully you guys like and appreciate what we're doing with them. Like I said, again, let me know what you think in the comments, and let me know if you have any questions in the comments. And yeah, thanks guys. We'll catch you later. Thanks for watching.